Shares of Airbnb, they're higher after beating first quarter estimates and an upgrade at Wells Fargo. The bank lifting shares to overweight, saying Airbnb is the strongest play on the future of remote and hybrid work. CEO Brian Chesky told Deirdre Bosa he expects demand for longer-term stays to keep increasing post-pandemic.
Fewer and fewer people are being tethered to one city to live and work. And so as people become more flexible, more and more people decide that staying in Airbnb is actually a great option for a week at a time, a month at a time, or a few months at a time.
Chesky also said he expects a travel rebound unlike anything we've seen before. Deirdre, is his gauge good this time? Because, I mean, a year ago, they were laying off people thinking it was, winter was here, but they've seen quite a snapback.
Yeah, they have. But you know what? They laid off people in the corporate office. We've seen in their financial results that hosts have actually stayed pretty steady on the platform, despite them seeing, a huge leg down in the early days of the pandemic. It did bounce back quickly, at least domestic travel. So, he says that they are ready for a hot vac summer and they have enough supply online even as their competitors try to poach some of their super hosts. And John, we talked about this in Tech Check, that whole idea of living somewhere in an Airbnb for the longer term, more than 28 days, that made up nearly a quarter of bookings in the first quarter. And that, to me, was sort of the most remarkable piece of this. What kind of opportunities does that open up for Airbnb in the future? And that's what I think that note was talking about as well and referring to, the longer term opportunity here.
Well, I mean, if you can do the Diana Olick thing and get the city to pay you for moving there and then use it to pay your Airbnb, I don't know, that could be a good hustle. But Bob Pisani, it seems like we're in between narratives here, perhaps, because it seems like the reopening trade is working, so people think that the pandemic trade isn't. But look at DoorDash. I mean, up 20%.
Yeah, look, I love Airbnb. I'm a user of Airbnb. But look what's happened to it. What was it, 220, 230 in February? What's it, 140 now? It's lost 30% of its value, and for good reason. When interest rates go up, these companies that don't make any money get clobbered. So you're talking about, John, I think it's an $85 billion market cap. There's only like 80 companies that have a bigger market cap, and they make $5 billion a year, and they're not going to make any money for several years. I mean, maybe next year they'll make 8 cents or 9 cents. So do the math here. We've got a PE of 1,000 or something on this. When interest, I'm not joking, it's 1,000 PE. When interest rates go up, inflation goes up, these kinds of growth companies get clobbered, and it's a wonder it's not even down more, as much as I love the product.
Well, when the E is small, you end up with those massive PEs,
right.
Casey. I guess the question is, I mean, you're at Platformer, so let's talk platforms. Is Airbnb going to have the sort of valuable platform that allows it to just make huge amounts of money in the future, like we've seen the likes of Amazon do?
Look, I think there is a lot of room for optimism here. You saw it in their first quarter numbers. A lot of people are already living this lifestyle. They didn't wait to get vaccinated. They just got on the road and started working remotely. A lot of American employers have said you're going to have the rest of this year and not have to come back to the office. And I think long term, these sort of hybrid roles are going to be very, very common. And if you're a white collar Silicon Valley worker, it's going to be really exciting to you to go work from 6 or 7 different cities a year. So I don't think it's wrong to bet on the future here.
Deirdre, another thing about this is that the costs at Airbnb, particularly marketing costs, have come way down during this time. When we talk so much about how much companies have to pay in tolls to get through Google, et cetera, the fact that they don't have to pay so much is a big deal, right?
Yeah, and their competitors are spending more. So, every time I talk to Brian Chesky, I ask him, do you still feel comfortable with where your marketing costs are? And again, this quarter, he said, yes, we think we have a pretty good thing going. They get 90% of their traffic organically. He talks about how he's turning guests into hosts, and how this next evolution of supply and demand is really interesting. He says that because of their discovery features and the data that they have, they're able to actually direct people to where there is supply. So say someone wants to travel to Paris in September, they could say, oh, look, there's actually better prices in October. And I think that's sort of the value of what they've built over the last more than decade that separates them from some of the competition.
And for all those people with flexible vacation days, I guess that works. All right, next, some companies are unmasking new policies in the wake of new guidance from the CDC. Wynn Las Vegas saying fully vaccinated guests and employees can stop wearing masks. However, it did note to CNBC that it's going to still require non-vaccinated guests to mask up. On the flip side, Delta Airlines doubling down, mandating all new hires be vaccinated before starting work, and adding it will likely bar current staff refusing the vaccine from boarding international flights. So we should note the CDC still recommends masks for anybody entering airplanes, public transit, or healthcare facilities. Bob, this is complicated because it gets into, the whole issue of should people be required to show proof of vaccination, whether it's in public places where certainly that's not being done, or even in private places. Is going to cause the same kind of dust up that we saw in stores over masks in the first place.
Well, I agree with you. I'm baffled why the CDC made this announcement, which I support, obviously, but didn't say that there should be a requirement of proof of vaccination. They didn't. I don't understand why. I work at the New York Stock Exchange. I had to show them proof of vaccination, the card, to go work there. I went back on Monday, and that was one of the requirements I had to do. I gladly did that. That made a lot of sense to me. So I think that we need to do that in the future, and most companies are going to require that. One thing that's interesting, John, is just mentally on the street, you can see some people are now starting not to wear masks. I get a few dirty looks because I was walking around recently without a mask. There's a lot of mental adjustment that's going to have to be made, and there are some people that, mentally they want to stay masked for a long time, if not physically, and so there's a real kind of mental adjustment that's starting to occur now.
Casey, are you in California right now? Yeah. So the dirty look that you get in California is if you're not wearing a mask, but there are other places in the country. If you're in a red, you get a dirty look for wearing a mask outside. So you sort of have to pick your poison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's become a culture where obviously people have very deep, like almost religious feelings about this stuff. I was talking to a source at Amazon yesterday. There's some concern there because Amazon has started asking, are you vaccinated or not? Some employees don't want to give up that information. But as we can see, companies can mandate essentially that they share it. So I think there's going to just be a ton of anxiety that comes out of this. But look, it's coming out of a massive 14-month trauma that we've just all gone through together. I think it's very understandable. People are going to have sort of strange and mixed feelings about sort of coming out the other side of it.
Deirdre, curveball here. You probably didn't ask this, but I wonder to what degree companies, even like Airbnb, are either recommending or not recommending that hosts ask about the vaccination of potential guests, what they're doing corporate policy-wise. I mean, I suppose this plays into those platforms as well.
John, it's a good question because we've seen tech companies come out on social issues, not just tech companies, but a lot of corporate America. So why can't they come out on this vaccine mandate and, not just ask, but require their employees and potentially even customers to show proof of vaccination? And I know this is such a tricky topic, but if they take stances on things like voting rights and other things, they have to consider where does a vaccine or mask mandate fit into the social welfare of society? I'm not making a statement on that. Let me be clear. But it's a good question to ask, especially when you have sort of progressive companies, especially in Silicon Valley.
Well, so everybody don't come for Dee. She wasn't making a statement. But here's a tip. If you decide to make a statement, do on the other hand and do the other side, and then people won't know which way you're really coming down. Okay, next. Another day, another tweet from Elon Musk moving the crypto market. The price of Dogecoin surging more than 40% after he revealed he's working with the token's developers, whoever they are, to improve transaction efficiency, and it looks potentially promising. But Dogecoin still negative for the week, reeling along with Bitcoin after Musk's last Twitter bomb 2 days ago, saying Tesla would no longer accept Bitcoin as payment due to the, quote, insane environmental impact of mining it. And Casey, I would add that he called Doge a hustle, on SNL, and it tanked over the weekend. So, I mean, here's a guy who's just moving crypto all over the place. What a store of value.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear at this point that if you've made a huge bet on Doge, it is just pure gambling. There are no fundamentals here to discuss to make a theory of the case. But look, the one thing we have learned over the past few months is that there are a lot of Americans who love to gamble in this way. And the risk of losing is, something that can be accounted for by the potential thrill of winning. So as long as people still see a huge upside in Doge and these other meme stocks, I think we're going to see a lot more of them.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.